What's up?
No, it's all good. No, we're good. I thought I was having internet issues, but I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. I'm good. I'm in.
Okay, cool. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. That is Fat Man Zoom over there. And it is Monday. We have a special day today. We got earnings, all that good stuff. But Fat Man Zoom, why don't you hit everybody up with the starting five?
We got Sean Ethier, John Gossin, Sam Cisneros, Justin Harris, and Bart Dom. We got a little bit of a mix today.
Ooh.
Newbies, old bees. What's up? And Mysterious Gal just missed the cut, but I'll give her a shout out because she's a new crew member and she's typically starting five.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, man, good stuff. Excited for today's show. Sorry, guys, I missed Stock Watch Sunday, but Brad, I'm sure you understand I had to.
I know. I didn't blame you one bit. If I was in your situation, I would have done the exact same thing.
Well, I'm pissed because you had an extra ticket.
I know.
And you unfortunately had golf plans, and I didn't even end up using it or finding anybody that could use it.
I know.
But gosh, the BMW Championship, guys, I was at the 8th. Can I talk about the BMW Championship?
Yeah, go.
Bro, the 18th hole, I went with mini zoom. I was about 12 rows back, but literally, like, even with the pin, 12 rows back, full view of the green, so the 18th hole is a par 4. Yeah. I could see the tee box, so I could see the golfers, but they were 400 some yards out. But I could see where the ball was going to land. So I kind of knew the general area was going to land. But their second shot in, I had a perfect view. I could see it flying towards me. I knew kind of where it was going to land. It was an incredible experience. So when I got there, I posted up with like 7 groups left and stayed at the 8th. There was only 2 seats. Mini Zoom and I stole them. And we sat there and waited for the last 7 groups. So we obviously saw DeChambeau and Patrick come in like the last group. And it was just awesome how it played out.
I mean, it couldn't have ended in any better way. I mean, just one of the best playoffs that we've seen in a while too. I mean, it was just the whole experience was cool to watch on TV. I can't imagine what it was like to watch in real life. I'm sure it was awesome.
Oh yeah, one of the best experiences. And so like I remember, so the playoff was 18, hole 18, then they 18 again. So it was 18, 18, 17, 18, 17, 18.
Yeah.
And they played 6 holes. And so after the second 18, I asked the guy next to me, like, should I try to get to 17? And 17, there was a hill, so you could see both 18 and 17. And I was like, you know what? You can't beat this seat. I'm going to roll the dice. And you could see there was a huge screen, so you could see what was going on at 17. But I rolled the dice, and it worked out in my favor because they actually ended on hole 18, which was phenomenal. And I'm not going to lie, like, I didn't really care who won, but I'm actually glad that DeChambeau lost because he was just a baby.
And bro, like the crazy part is that like he like imploded on Saturday. You know, he probably could have ended the tournament under 30 had he not beaten himself. Just the day before. So I mean, it was just crazy. It was just a wild weekend for golf for sure.
Did you hear that he yelled, or I don't want to say he yelled, but he like said something to Patrick about like walking, like
like
loud walker or something,
right? Just start talking shit. I don't know.
Oh my god! Crazy. But no, man, it was a cool experience. Glad to have the championship there. Hopefully, they bring another PGA event again to Maryland. But the course was nice. The event was cool, so it was good.
It seemed like it was a great place. I mean, I don't know. I think Maryland seems like it should be a place that gets revisited for sure. Just walking around the grounds, because I was there on Thursday or Friday rather, and it was awesome. Just being around the atmosphere when we walked around, it was really cool. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another tournament back here in Maryland. It was really cool. But let's go ahead and get on to some stocks. We got some people rolling in. We got about 51 of you guys hanging in, 57. We got 9 likes. We've been slacking on the like game. If you guys could hit that thumbs up, we certainly would appreciate it because we got a jam-packed live stream here for you today. We got Zoom has earnings. We're going to give you our live reactions, but we got a couple of things that we need to cover that have have just gone crazy over the weekend and even just today. So, Fat Man Zoom, why don't you hit us off with our first topic?
Yeah, so actually on Friday, as we're at the course, the news came out of a partnership between Affirm and Amazon. Really big news, and we've been fans for Affirm for a long time. I don't even remember when it came on the radar, but man, it feels like it's been a year that it's been on the radar for us. But
Yeah.
Affirm is partnering with Amazon, so essentially any Amazon transactions over $50, you have the option to use Affirm. This is huge for Affirm, and we mentioned with Affirm the idea behind them not solely relying on Peloton, which they've already done a great job on, and this just literally like is icing on the cake. So
Yeah.
thoughts on Affirm? Obviously, it's had a massive move. Where is it sitting now? Has it broken 100 yet? What's the deal?
It actually is over 100 right now as we speak. As we were in the middle of our live stream, it just cracked back up over $100 a share. And actually, this is the first time that it's done it actively in during the day. So after hours, we saw this spike up to $103 on Friday, and then it did it again this morning in pre-market and has yet to have really seen that. So we come out to the chart on Affirm. This is the 5-minute chart here, and it looks awesome. I mean, the high of the day right now, and it's still climbing. One thing that I had mentioned in the Stock Watch Sunday that maybe some of you didn't get to hear was that this deal is much bigger than I think a lot of people realize. If Affirm just does 1% of Amazon's sales, that brings in $900 million for Affirm as far as revenue is concerned, which would make up about 10% of their overall revenue. And that is just bringing in 1% of Amazon sales, Fat Man Zoom. That is just an incredible number.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean they get, or that doesn't even show them getting greater market share of their, or greater revenue share. But also, it doesn't even include the fact that Amazon's going to continue to grow revenue as well. So $1 billion of income for Affirm is great. Obviously, that'll grow. I mean, is this a bigger partnership than Shopify?
Yeah.
I'm setting you up right here.
100%, I think it is. But I mean, this kind of like this does so many things. Obviously, it's a big revenue driver. It's going to continue to build them up that way. But it also subsides some of the fears of just Peloton being their cash cow, right? We've talked about how Peloton is responsible for 20% of their revenue, and they've been making huge moves with Shopify and Apple and all kinds of other areas in the market. But then Peloton's still there, yes, but this deal with Amazon allows them to continue to diversify, and Amazon is such a steady Eddie type of company to where you don't have to worry about the ups and downs with Amazon and how it's going to affect Affirm because of just what the kind of juggernaut it is. So it was such a huge move for them, a big day for Affirm, obviously a big day for Amazon, but clearly a much bigger one for Affirm, no doubt.
I mean, does this really benefit Amazon that much? I mean, it's a nice headline, but does it really benefit Amazon that much? Speaking from the guy who loves Amazon.
I think, it benefits them, obviously not anywhere near the capacity that it benefits Affirm, but I think it benefits them just because they're getting into the space. This is the buy now, pay later side of things is really starting to rapidly grow in popularity. This just gives Affirm or Amazon exposure to it. And I'm still not ruling out the possibility of one of the big tech companies buying Affirm. Who knows where it comes from at this point, because it seems like everybody's trying to get their hands on Affirm. I mean, with the Shopify, Apple, and now Amazon doing dealings with them, who knows who knows who may end up, extending an offer to purchase them. And that means that this stock could stand to go even higher than where it's at right now. And it's up 48% on the day.
Yeah, I mean, I say that because I'm glad you mentioned somebody buying them, because I don't think it's a big deal for Amazon, actually. I think it's a little bit of an overdone deal. It is a huge news, obviously, for Affirm, but to me, it seems more like a trial run. Like if you were interested in purchasing Affirm, well, let's see what the sentiment is before we spend $50 billion to buy Affirm.
Yeah.
Let's see if this is actually something that people would use, because getting into the buy now, pay later, yeah, you could say that, but the reality is PayPal does buy now, pay later. Like there's other ways that their consumers can leverage buy now, pay later. So in my mind is, if you're Amazon, you already have tight margins. Why give like split the pie even more. And the only logical explanation to me is this is a trial run to see if buy now, pay later is something that their clients will use, which customers will use, which is probably yes. And then let's either home grow this thing or let's just buy Affirm and call it a day.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, it's huge news for them. If you guys aren't aware, this has been a stock that the Chaos Crew as well as myself have been in. My average on this is $61.50. Shout out if you guys got a better average than that. But this is something that we actually put on the watch list for our Chaos Crew members. If you're not a part of that, check the link or check the join button next to subscribe. We put out a watch list every single day that's in great detail. We give you 5 stocks every single day that we think might be making moves in the market in that particular day. Just gives you something to look at, and it costs $4.99. You don't even know it's gone. So go ahead and click that join button if you guys want to be a part of the Chaos Crew. It's a great community to be a part of. You get access to Discord groups, all that stuff as well. So much value for such a small amount of money. Fat Man,
so
too.
Michael Hanna says Shopify is huge too. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a done deal. Obviously, there's a lot more revenue coming into Amazon, but Shopify, those are tons of businesses that are leveraging them. He thinks that's huge too, which more moat and publicity. That's certainly true as well. I don't know about publicity, but definitely great deals. Remember, major partners for Affirm are Walmart, Peloton, Shopify, Amazon. What a lineup, and what are the other companies that are going to add to that? Because the reality is once you got those big names, the other companies are going to fall in place for Affirm. So stay tuned with that. Cameron Rossetti says, where does Affirm go from here? I don't like buying up after 40%. Wasn't able to buy on Friday after hours. That's a good question. You know, we talk about not chasing. If you weren't in it, you know, what are you looking to get in if you weren't in this stock?
That is a really great question. And for me, I had to go back to its early IPO days to kind of really determine what would be a reasonable entry for somebody who's not in. If we see any kind of profit taking or pullback to around $90 a share, that's kind of where I would see a potential area to buy up Affirm. But at this point, if you're not in already and you don't want to chase, it's just a missed opportunity at that point. There's no shame in just not making the play and just watching from the sidelines and being patient and waiting for potential move back down or buying into weakness at some point. You know, if it were me and I wasn't in Affirm, that's exactly what I would be doing. I would just be watching it, because at that point, you know, I missed my opportunity. I'm not going to chase it. I'm not going to increase my risk if I don't have to. There's plenty of other stocks that are out there. This has finally made the move. And this isn't to say that Affirm isn't going higher, because I firmly believe that it's going to. I think that we could see this around the 120 range, perhaps by the end of the month. And if that happens, I certainly would be a very happy man. But, you know, it doesn't mean that you should be buying it after it's had a 50% day. I'm sure there will be some profit taking at some point, you know, along those lines, but certainly wouldn't be today that I would start making my first entry on Affirm.
The most logical answer to this question is, as far as when the profit taking will happen, September 9th is their earnings. I would wait till September 9th.
Yep.
Obviously, there's a lot of good things to report on, so I'm not saying they're going to fall after earnings. But if there's going to be profit taking, I feel like there's going to be a ton of anticipation and lead up, so it could continue to run. Yeah. But if you believe in this stock, and if you've done your due diligence, and you feel like you got a firm grasp on where the value lies, then after earnings, they've got a high bar to get over. It seems likely that there could be a sell-off after earnings, and so that would be a great opportunity for some people. So it remains to be seen. Now, we mentioned PayPal, and they offer buy now, pay later. They actually have a new offering that's rumored, and that is they're going to be offering stock trading services. So look out, Robinhood. Look out, Webull. Here comes PayPal. Do you like this move, Brad? And are they really going to be able to compete?
I think that this is a great move for them, but no, I don't think that they can compete. I think this is going to be more so along the lines of people that are already utilizing the services that PayPal has, such as the crypto side of things. And I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they surprise us, but I don't think this is something that's actually going to go anywhere because the competition is so stiff. This reminds me of like when Facebook gave video calling features on their platform, and everybody thought that that was going to be the death of Zoom. Do you remember that about a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that this is kind of like something similar along those lines. And I don't know if this is like a big deal for PayPal, but hell, man, it's up 4% today. You can't complain about that.
Yeah. So a couple things to note. they're not going to launch the site or they're not going to launch the offering in 2021. At earliest, it's going to be 2022, and it might not even be able to be ready for launch in 2022. Although, possibly, like I would imagine it does. If I was betting, I'd say it comes in 2022. But the reality is it's not happening this year. The hype is nice. I do like that companies are doing things. Like the fact that you're trying things is good. It's anybody's guess on the adoption. But here's what I will say. Keep in mind, I love PayPal. I'm a big fan of PayPal. However, I use PayPal for buying Ethereum.
Yeah.
And it is not a good platform for buying Ethereum. Let me just say that. It's actually horrible. I don't like it at all. The only reason, to your point, is that I already have PayPal. I have funds that sit in there. And so it's just easier for me to use. But that's going to change. I don't see myself using PayPal for crypto in the future. So that seems likely that I don't see myself using stocks there for the future as well. So if their crypto platform is any indication of what their stock trading platform is going to be like, it's a no-go for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's so many other reasons to be bullish on PayPal. I just don't know if this is one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. But listen, you're using your cash, and maybe they do put a renewed focus on it. It's definitely, you want to keep people's money in your ecosystem. So it makes sense why they did that. It'll be interesting to see. But what if, I'm just sort of reaching here, but like, what if they acquire a company that is already in existence? What if they acquire a Webull type, and that catapults them in the game? They don't need to be number one, but if they're in the game, that could mean something for them material. We shall see. But I like that they're making moves. At the very least, that's cool that they're sort of staying on top of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that.
Charlie Connor said PayPal is the OG, more stuff for its upcoming super app. And obviously, they're also leveraging more in crypto space. I also want to shout out Tammy Johnson for the $25 donation. Took profit today, but very happy on Affirm. Looks like she decided to trim some, sell some Affirm. Good work on that.
Yeah, awesome stuff there. All right, cool. I just realized, did you see that?
The super chat?
See what I just did? Huh?
Yeah, I saw that.
That was pretty cool. I didn't even know you could do that. But anyways, I'll know that for next time. Thanks, Tammy. Really appreciate the donation. If you guys are looking to donate, we certainly would appreciate any support for the channel. But yeah, love it. Love it. Affirm's been doing well for a lot of our Chaos Crew members, and it's still looking great here, sitting at 99.88.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think man, this week's going to be interesting. I think, I think it keeps going, to be honest with you, this week. I think you're saying you're 120, man. It could be 120 going into their earnings.
Yeah, it very easily could do that for sure. I agree.
For those asking about Zoom, obviously, if you just come in, we're going to be reacting to Zoom earnings. We're actually going to be talking about it in a minute. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you give us a thumbs up for that content. Fat Man Zoom special. Excited about Zoom, and I'm really excited about these earnings. Let's jump. You want to jump right into it?
Real quick, though, let me just keep everybody updated on how many folks we got in the house. We got 96 of you. Actually, sorry, 99 of you guys hanging in with us, and 33 likes. If we can get it to 80 likes today, I would be a happy man. So let's see if we can get those thumbs up. We certainly would appreciate
80?
that. What's that?
80, that's it?
I'm trying to get to 80, yeah. We only have 100 people hanging out.
All right. I say we go 100.
If we have more than 100, maybe I'll move it up. But, like, we only got 98 people hanging in. So it's a little bit of a...
I'm going bold. I'm saying 100. We're going to get people coming in for Zoom earnings.
All right, 100 it is. Let's get 100 likes, guys. If we could get to 100, that would be awesome. One of these days, we're going to give somebody a shout out. I don't know how we're going to do it. We're going to reward the people for getting to our goal at some point. But we'll figure that out. But nevertheless, let's try to get to 100 likes. We certainly would appreciate it, guys. Thanks for the support. And so let's get into it. What's going on with Zoom? What you got?
So Zoom earnings are today. It feels like forever since we've had a Zoom earnings. But Zoom earnings estimates per share are $1.16. Now, if they beat, it will be a record.
Yeah.
so it'll be a record quarter. I'm sorry, no, that's not necessarily true. Sorry, their $1.32 is a record. But if they beat, it's most likely that they will beat $1.32. And the reason, Brad, is they've never missed an earnings ever in their history.
Yeah.
Which they went public in 2019, June or I think March of 2019. So it's not a huge sample size, but you're talking about nearly 10 earnings, and they beat handily too. So the smallest margin they beat by is 30%. So it's safe to say that the easy prediction is a beat. Now, will it be a record quarter? That's the question I have. What are you expecting from Zoom earnings today?
I'm expecting them to obviously beat. I think it's going to be a no-brainer there. But as far as a record quarter is concerned, I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case. This could be a slow quarter for Zoom, and I expect that they could end up picking things up leading into the rest of the year. And I'm curious to see if they give us any insight on what's going on in this current quarter that we're actually in. Because of the Delta variant and keeping people at home, I think that that's what's going to continue to propel Zoom upwards. And I think that $400 a share should be reasonable for them in the near future. I'm not saying it's going to happen today, but I could easily see this get up over 360 if they give us any insight on what's going on in the current quarter that we have. So if they raise their guidance for this quarter and through the rest of the year, I think that that's going to be what's really promising, not necessarily what they came in as far as earnings per share in last quarter. So this is going to be crucial too, man, because if we break over 360, it's sitting right there where the 200-day moving average is, and the 50-day was right behind it at 367. So this should be good for them if they come in with a strong quarter with some raised guidance, which I expect them to come in at, because we saw, some larger corporations say, hey, we're going to extend the work from home thing. And as long as they keep extending it, it continues to make the argument that this is not going anywhere and it's here to stay. Not to mention, they gave away a lot of their services to schools and healthcare facilities during COVID for free. And I think that we're going to continue to see them cash in on a lot of that as well. So for me, it's like I don't necessarily care too much about what their earnings per share are and what they did last quarter. I want to hear what's going on right here, right now.
Yeah, I'll obviously raise guidance is going to be really nice. I'm going to tell you one more thing. In addition to raise guidance that we need to hear, and I'm going to bet that this is the headline tomorrow or even today after they report, is this will be the first quarter that they hit $1 billion in revenue.
Yeah.
If they beat revenue, there's a very good chance that they could hit 1 billion. And a $1 billion quarter, we know, is big news. Any sort of milestone like that's like a psychological number. So if they can raise guidance and hit $1 billion in revenue for the quarter, I think that's going to be massive for the company. I think the news has sort of settled in as far as like companies are pushing back their stay at home, extending it. I think it's kind of obvious that companies are going to continue to use Zoom. But if you look at, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, the last 4 quarters of revenue, 664 million, 777 million, 882 million, and 956 million. That's great revenue growth. Yeah. We need the $1 billion to be icing on the cake. Beat on earnings per share, beat on revenue, raise guidance. $400 comes for Zoom.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge milestone. If they get over $1 billion, that's going to be big. That's going to be really big. I agree. I mean, it should be interesting to see how this all plays out. I mean, it's funny. I've been talking about Zoom being one of my favorite stocks since last March, April. And a lot of it obviously was sparked by the pandemic, but I had been using Zoom a year before that. So I've been using it since 2018, just about. And so about 2 years before that. And it's been an amazing platform ever since. So I've been, maybe a little bit on the bias side, but it's for good reason. I mean, they're a great product, and they've had some bumps along the road, but they are by far better than any of their competition. And that goes for Microsoft Teams. That goes for any other video sharing platform or video conferencing platform. Zoom just has it. And we've talked about this before about how, and there's some companies that are starting to finally catch Netflix, and Disney comes to mind as far as the streaming services is concerned. But that's what I compare Zoom to pretty regularly. Like, they are still king, and they're going to continue to be king. Sure, there's going to be some companies that are going to try to play second fiddle, but Zoom's going to continue to grow market share. Everybody, when Zooming is a household verb, it's that says something about the company. And so this is something that I think is going to continue to do really well. I know it's been a little bit painful because of how much this has come down from its highs about 3 quarters ago, and it's been really sideways and painful and kind of boring. But maybe this could be the quarter that we see this start to turn around.
Yeah, certainly could. Sorry, I thought we froze for a second. Yeah, certainly could. And guys, as we wind down towards the close, we got about 4 minutes towards close. Just so you know how this works, if you haven't been here before to our channel, once the market closes, Brad will keep up the Zoom chart. We'll look at the 5 minutes, see any instant reactions or moves. I'll go on Twitter and see if when the number comes out and try to report the numbers out, or if our man Arfin's in the house. He'll try to beat me to it. So we'll see how that goes as well. So make sure you guys stay tuned for Arnie's reaction. We'll get you guys the numbers and give any initial reactions, just sort of a knee jerk on Zoom and Zoom earnings.
Yeah, I didn't know this, but Robert Fausel says that Zoom is number 8 on the App Store.
Oh, still. Really?
Yeah.
That is pretty impressive. That's surprising.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think the bear case for Zoom, or like the bears would say for Zoom, is it just got ahead of itself. And you could say it did get ahead of itself when it was in 700 land or whatever. But the reality is the fundamentals are catching up pretty quickly just because their growth, especially international growth. We've talked about industry opportunities, which hopefully we hear about that. But, I just don't know who truly is competition for Zoom, and who, maybe I can make the argument that Google is, but that's about it. And Google isn't even that close.
Well, you have Teams as well. And I mean, Teams does have a big, they take up market share as far as the government contracts are concerned, because the government has contracts with Microsoft. So there is that element to it. And to your point, yeah, Google as well. There's other stuff on there, but none of them even come close to holding a candle next to Zoom. And I agree. I mean, this is just going to be something that continues to go. It's just one of those things that I think that the other bear case you can make, which I am a little bit nervous about as far as Zoom's concerned, is this Fed talking about tapering and the potential rising of rates. The biggest stocks that are going to be affected the most are going to be ones that have high multiples and are associated with tech. It's just how it works. Usually when rates go up, big institutional investors are going to flock to the value stocks, and that's where they're going to park their money until things settle out, which means that we could start to see some more volatility on Zoom leading into the end of the year, maybe in the beginning of 2022, when we start talking about the interest rates even more, and maybe even some more tapering. That could come into the conversation. But as long as Zoom continues to crush earnings and raise guidance and continue to grow the way that they are, I think they will be just fine. But we will see some turbulence if that ends up coming into play. You look at their sales. They're trading right now, I think it's somewhere around 60 to 70 times sales. So that's actually still quite high. But as you said, I think that they do have the ability to grow into that valuation. And so there's a reason it's trading up here, and why people continue to buy it up here. And that reason is that their potential for growth is just so good.
Yeah. I mean, as far as Teams is concerned, organizationally, Teams just has people that already use it, and they just have it in house.
Yeah.
You aren't getting people use Teams because they have to use it, not because they want to use it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for adoption of it, you're not going to see somebody leave Zoom to go to Teams. That just doesn't happen. Now, maybe Google does it. It's just the lead is so great. I think for Zoom, they still have a lot of growth opportunities. So the total addressable market is huge. But I think for them to set themselves off and really become like a player, like the likes of Facebook, or the high tech, the Apples, the Microsofts, the Googles, is what else are they going to offer? And they got into hardware, they got into conference services, they got into the cloud phone, I think they need to start really using their cash,
Yeah.
And the more they leverage that, and the more they create new revenue streams, and those revenue streams come into play, the more they can get into that top tier tech. Because right now they're kind of like a stepchild to the big boys. And so I think they can be up there and stand shoulder to shoulder with those companies, but they need to show that they can do what they did with video conferencing in another lane as well.
Yep, I agree 100%. Right now, the market is closed officially. We're at 4:01, so it's been closed for about 90 seconds or so. And we're starting to see a little bit of activity on Zoom, but not much. It looks like some pretty typical after-hours trading activity, on an earnings day. So it doesn't look like we got any kind of substantial volume coming in just yet. But as soon as we do, we'll certainly have those numbers out to you. Right now, it closed the day at 147.50. It's sitting at right around 148.50. It's up around 1/3%. Nothing too crazy just yet out of Zoom.
What did Affirm close at? Close above 100?
99.59 is where Affirm closed at on the day. So just a monster day for Affirm.
Nice.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
I'm just checking my other holdings to see how they did today. How did
I had another fantastic day. I mean, most of my stocks were down except for Affirm and Amazon. I still ended up on the day up 3.25%, and it's just continuing to rock and roll. This account's been doing so well.
Yeah, Tesla crushed it for me today. What a beautiful day for Tesla. So I'm checking Twitter. Nothing yet for Zoom on Twitter. We'll see on that. And again, guys, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that tech in general just crushed it today. I mean, it was just crazy. We saw Apple hit all-time highs. Amazon had a fantastic day. I mean, even the semiconductors did well too. AMD, NVIDIA, they all did well. So big tech in general had a hell of a day.
Yeah. Guys, to give you the numbers again, what we're expecting for Zoom earnings is $1.16 a share, which we do expect to beat. It'd be great if they came in over that. Revenue expected at $990 million. So we may see $1 billion quarter. I expect to see $1 billion quarter, to be clear. So we'll see what those numbers come in at. How many people we got in the house?
We got 157 of you guys hanging out with us. So we certainly appreciate you allowing us to be a part of your afternoon. And we got 72 likes. So we're getting close to that 100 like goal. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up, we certainly would appreciate it, just to help support the channel and get the word out. And we'll see where we end up at the end of the day.
Jeff Panika says, I want chaotic money. I think we all want chaotic money, bro.
Yeah, he also said, I feel good. I hit the like button.
Shout out to Daniel Camarena. What's up, my man?
The FedEx warehouse. I forgot to mention while we're waiting, I guess I should say I sold my first option today.
Oh, nice.
I sold 5 contracts of Ford. Calls and so I'm just dabbling. This is the first time I actually traded an option in almost 10 years. I haven't really messed with them since then, since I first started learning how to trade, and it was interesting. So I'm trying to figure out this wheel strategy. But so I ended up selling puts, and in hopes that I either get a good entry on it when the contracts expire, or maybe I end up getting a credit and still get some income that way. So it'll be interesting, but just want to let you guys know I'm starting to dabble in that. So yeah, there's Don Fron. I knew he was going to mention something about that, but yeah, it was pretty cool to see it.
Yeah, definitely excited to hear about how that options trading goes for you. We've been talking about that for a while. I did want to bring up a comment. Sentence says, not sure how next quarter will pan out for Zoom when most schools are heading back to class. I would actually argue that we should be okay. And I'm going to tell you why after we talk about this chart dropping.
Yeah. So right now, Zoom is actually selling off. It was interesting. It sold all the way down to 330 and then bounced all the way back up to 350. And now we're sitting at 338. So it's down around 2% after hours right now. Arfin looks like he's got the numbers. It says adjusted earnings per share, $1.36. They beat their 116 estimate. Isn't that a record, Fat Man Zoom? Didn't you say 132?
And revenue is a record as well. 1.02 billion. Got the billion, baby.
Yeah. So across the $1 billion mark. Right now it's still dropping. So there's got to be something in there that maybe in the report that investors aren't really too fond of. But so far, that number, there's that record number and the record revenue is pretty good stuff. I mean, that $1 billion mark is a huge milestone for Zoom. It all kind of really depends on that guidance. So if they either came in line with their guidance or lowered their guidance somehow, then that could be a reason why we see the sell off. I saw somebody asking about, why is it that, how is it that a stock goes down on an earnings beat? And that's really what it comes down to. If a company comes in and says, hey, we're not seeing any kind of growth in the quarter that we're in, or maybe in the foreseeable future, investors don't like that. Trading, in the stock market itself looks forward. They're forward looking to at least about 6 months, maybe even a year. And so they're looking forward to they're investing based off of what they expect to happen in the future, not what's going on right here, right now. And even in this case with Zoom, they're reporting earnings that happened last quarter. So they're already in the past tense. They want to see what's going on in the future. So there's even times where you'll see they miss earnings, but they come in and raise guidance and say, hey, the quarter that we're in right now is absolutely fantastic. We see a huge growth potential for the rest of the year, something like that. Then you'll see a stock go off despite whatever is going on in their earnings for the quarter previously. So that's why, I can certainly understand why it would be confusing to some people, but that's why you see it go up even on bad earnings or down, depending on what their guidance is.
Yeah, and I think the rate of growth is going to be something that challenges them. And we've talked about the tech companies that benefited off of stay at home. The rate of growth is going to be a challenge. However, pulling some of the information from the earnings and some from the transcript, the CEO said in Q2, we achieved our first $1 billion revenue quarter while delivering strong profitability and cash flow. All great. Here's some interesting stuff. Now, I talked about Zoom app, Zoom events. That's all great. They're trying to become the all-in-one digital event service. Over 500,000 customers with 10 or more employees. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The reach is incredible. So 54% year over year for the revenue. Operating margin looks good. I mean, all this stuff, looks pretty good. I think the rate of the growth and I think guidance, financial outlook, Zoom is providing guidance for its third quarter. Third quarter total revenue is expected to be between 1.015 billion and 1.02 billion. So essentially what it just did this quarter. And so the full fiscal year 2022 total revenue is expected between 4 billion and 4.015 billion. So yeah, it looks like they didn't raise guidance. They could have just kept it in line. But still, make no mistake about it. Like, these numbers are really good, and if they continue to beat, Zoom should outperform.
Yeah, right now it's trading down. It's a 326.83. It's down 5.5%. So interesting there to see how that plays out. See how if this ends up being a opportunity for Zoom investors. What are your plans, since this is something that you're big on? Do you think that this is something worth buying the dip on? What are your plans for it? Do you plan on adding to it yourself? Obviously, I'm sure we'll wait to see where this might bottom out at. But what are your plans for Zoom?
Yeah, obviously, I want to actually, listen to the call. This is you just asking me off the top. I would say it would be to buy the dip to add on to it. So I actually should have pulled up my Fat Man Zoom account to see, I hold it in the public account, but my main long-term investing account, these are times where I look for opportunities to add to the position. So I was actually seeing how much exposure I have to Zoom comparatively to my other positions.
Yeah.
And out of the 7 Fat Man Zoom stocks, we have Zoom's my third largest position. So I would be buying the dip, but probably not too much, to be honest with you, because I already have a decent amount of it. And I have under a $400 average. So unless it came to like a stupid level, like below 300, maybe add a little bit, but I wouldn't get too crazy.
Yeah.
But I still feel conviction in it. And I think that we're going to see Zoom starting to make moves, start as far as like from a company perspective and spending their money. So we'll see what the future brings.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody made a comment here about Teams. And this was Thano. It says Teams is way better than Zoom for the companies. The tool is integrating at all office application and possibilities to have shareholders. It's not a simple conference call application, but neither is Zoom. And I think that's what people are lost on. Zoom is so much more than that. And the Microsoft Teams side of things is more for corporate side. I would venture to say, in fact, man, Zoom, feel free to disagree with me. I'd venture to say that Zoom is more appropriate for the smaller businesses that aren't quite yet corporate America. It makes sense to see that the government's using it. Maybe some larger corporations makes sense. But for small business side of things, maybe, and even freelancers and that sort of thing, I mean, we use Zoom. We actually subscribe to their services. I pay for Zoom every single month, and I would classify us as a small business. And so I think that's what gets lost on a lot of people. It's more than just a phone call conferencing app. They have so many other things in the works. You mentioned the events side of things as well. So like, there's a lot more to it on an enterprise level than people might actually realize.
Yeah, I don't know many people who would say that Teams is way better. I mean,
yeah, me either.
Teams,
it's terrible. I hate
it is. So, and not only just the video conferencing as a whole. I mean, I have clients that use Teams that have to use it and they hate it.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody that's like, we should adopt the Teams. I mean, the thing about Teams is like, I don't know what competitive advantage Teams has. Where Zoom is easy to use. You can integrate it beyond enterprise, like friends, family, anybody can use it. It's low cost, all this other, it's easy upfit. Like there's so many differentiating advantages that they have, or differentiators that enable them to have a competitive advantage. I can't tell you what Teams is other than if we already have Microsoft Teams, it's already in place.
Yeah.
It's a horrible competitive strategy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and I've used it before. It's terrible. I know other people that use it before and they have no good things to say about Teams. That's for sure. But nevertheless, right now, Zoom is down now 7%. This seems to me a little overblown unless there's something that we're missing. I mean, we're looking at the potential reason for this selling off is because of them just coming in line with guidance rather than raising it. And it seems to be a little bit overblown to me at this point. I think the reaction here is a little bit much, if I'm honest. So we'll see where this lands. I mean, it's not surprising to see it selling off just coming in line with guidance, but to this degree, it doesn't seem like it makes a whole lot of sense. And in these situations, as long as there's nothing else going on here, in these situations, it's absolutely a really good opportunity to look at this as a potential dip grab, only because people are just reacting emotionally, and this looks like a straight up panic sell to me.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. It certainly seems like an overreaction. I mean, just those initial looks at the number, they seem like they're doing just fine. How long it'll take to come back, that remains to be seen. How much further it can go down. Obviously, it can continue to come down. But Zoom's been a growth story, and it's a growth stock. So obviously, the bar's been set so high that it's hard for them to overcome that. And I'm sure they tempered up expectations a little bit. Uncertainty around the Delta variant and, what's going to happen. So I would have done it if I was a CEO to temper expectations, but I think they're going to continue to just dominate and do really well. So we'll keep an eye on it for sure.
Yeah, I think the expectation here is that maybe there are some investors out there that are comparing it to this time last year, and the level of growth that we saw from Zoom last year is just not sustainable. And if anybody, if you thought that it was going to be, and you're selling that as a result of that, that's what doesn't make sense to me. So we'll see if that's the actual reason. But yeah, I'm not necessarily you know surprised that we're seeing a sell off to this degree, though it is a little bit surprising.
Yeah, I just want to shout out a few people in the chat before we step away. Oliver Thorpe, hi, Fat Man Zoom and Brad. Thanks for bringing Affirm to my attention over the last 6 months. Useful for us English that don't always hear about some of these companies. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. We got a decent crew across the pond, so we appreciate that. Jeff Panika, Zoom RSI is down to 13.5. Definitely look oversold for sure. And our condolences to James Pearson, who bought Zoom just before the close.
Oh, let that be a lesson to you guys that if you're trading earnings, you're basically gambling with your money. And we say that all the time. But sorry to hear that, my friend. But Fat Man Zoom, I think that's going to do it for us. So if you guys want to catch what happened right now, we were covering Zoom's earnings. They came in and actually crushed them. It came in with record earnings per share, record revenue, crossed a huge milestone with $1 billion this past quarter. This quarter here that we're in right now, they're expecting it to come in line with that. They didn't raise guidance, and that's what we're seeing here. They actually came in line. They didn't lower it at all, but came in line with the guidance, and that's what we're seeing the reaction here, which looks to be quite a bit of an overreaction, if I'm honest here. But that's going to do it for us, guys. We're going to be here again tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, as always. We'll be giving some reactions to earnings there as well. I think this is we're one of the very few channels that just gives reactions to earnings, Fat Man Zoom, and I feel like we're finally really finding our groove here with this. So if you guys, this should be your premier place to come for earnings reactions, and we're going to continue to get better at this. But I'm loving this side of things that we do as far as that's concerned. But we will see you tomorrow, and we'll give you some of our earnings reactions there as well. We'll love to see you guys there. Before you do that, though, we got 190 of you guys hanging in with us, and we got 76 likes. We're got one like away from our 100 like goal, and I think we could actually crush that.
Likes. So 99 likes, you mean?
99, yeah. Okay. Sorry,
you said 76.
Oh, sorry. No. We hit 101 likes now. So if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up button on your way out, we certainly would appreciate it. Anything else, Fat Man Zoom?
Nope. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.
That's going to do it for us. Bye.